As we have learnt through the course of this MOOC on photojournalism, this is a field full of surprises, and we have to be ready and prepared to face any moment and situation as it comes. In this video, Mr. Dinesh Krishnan is going to talk to us about how to conduct ourselves as photojournalists and how to be ready to face any challenge or situation that we may face.
Adding to what Dinesh is saying about, we are in India, we are located in India, and there's certain cultural practices, socio-cultural practices of in many parts of the country that we don't take the footwear inside the homes and we leave them behind, or certain places, of faith where, shoes or footwear has to be kept out. So, like I said, we just have to be sensitive to differences.
I can tell you, you mentioned footwear in religious places. Of course, in temples in India, it's very much it's an enclosed space, so you will obviously be taking your slippers off. But many places in India, especially in places where you have these great Mughal architecture or other architecture, Islamic architecture, you find you may not even know when you are moving into an area which is a kind of a small masjid, whether it's Fatehpur Sikri, or whether it is in Karnataka, or whether it is in Hyderabad or in Lucknow. You realize that there's great, absolute wonderful monuments. You're shooting everything around, going and taking pictures. You didn't realize that, "Arey, main to yahan masjid mein aa gaya, joote pehen ke," and they're all looking at you. Not nice. You be aware of it. Be culturally aware. And sometimes you must realize that they don't like to be photographed when they're praying. Don't do that. Get away. Because, like I told you, you're not the most important thing there. Your subject is. Right? And sometimes, as photojournalists, you might go into an area where you're going to a tragedy. Something has happened there. You make sure that you behave yourself. I'm using this word absolutely with complete thought. You make sure you behave yourself very well, because, mind you, you might be in the greatest paper that the country ever made. You're not the most important thing there. At that particular point of view, at that particular point in that particular place, the people who have lost somebody, it's a tragedy that's happening there. They are going through something, and you are there as a newsman to maybe capture that for some reason. I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. Could be anything. Could be a train accident. Maybe you're going to go and go and talk to somebody who are family members of victims. Be very, very humble. Okay? I really mean it. That's the word to do. And that's the only way you can get across to them. You tell them you're from so-and-so newspaper or so-and-so news website or whatever, and you want to talk to them for a little bit, and you want to take some pictures too, if you don't mind. Yeah, use the word you don't mind. Agar aapko ijazat ho, tasveerein kheenchni hai. And then you cajole them into saying yes to you. Don't go and snatch pictures, please. Don't go barge into the house with the camera. Yeah, your camera can do 250 by 8 or whatever. Don't do that. That's very important. Culturally, she mentioned that. Imagine you're shooting, you're doing a work for a documentary on women health in India, and you're doing something in some parts of absolutely the hinterland of India, and one of the pictures you're trying to get is maybe a young mother breastfeeding a child. Don't do a front end shot, please. I mean, because it's not done. Don't do that. You have the respect for her. So if you have to take a picture where you are showing somebody who is breastfeeding, then take an angle which you know for a fact that you don't show her. You don't show her front. Don't do that. There are other ways to do it. That's voyeurism, getting you're borderlining. You're getting into the bedroom literally. Don't do that. You won't do that to your family members, would you? Would you do that to somebody at your home? You wouldn't do that. Whether it's a girl or a guy, you wouldn't do that. It may make for a great picture, but what is it? No, don't do that. You want to communicate breastfeeding in India? There are ways to do it without showing the breast. Okay, that's very important. This is sensitive. This is India, right? We're not in Sweden. I'm not saying Sweden is all open and all that. For them, it doesn't matter. For them, if she's coming, if there's a person who is modeling for you, or who says, I want to be a person who is used as an example to say to actually propagate breastfeeding, she wouldn't mind actually photographing for the cause. You know, cultural difference is it's two different worlds. Don't get me wrong. It's not that you go into a Swedish home and somebody is breastfeeding there, you go and take a camera, they will allow you. No, I didn't mean that. That's totally not on too. I meant to say I meant to show you two different extremes, you know, Northern Europe and India. All right, well, whichever part of India you are in. If the other lady in Europe is willing to be that person, she wouldn't mind it. In India, you will not find that problem. You will not find that kind of an example. So be very, and if you're going to do something, a story, documenting whether India is good or India is catching up or India is not good, you know, not enough kids are getting, breast milk, then you be careful about how you shoot it. You may be assigned to do it, but be careful about how you do it, okay? Women's health, be careful about how you approach it. And this is where I mentioned, if I was a photo editor, and if I'm trying to send a photographer into capturing women's health, I would want to send a girl there. You know why? Not because, sorry boys, I don't mean to say that you guys can't do it. It's for the sake of the subject. I want the subject to be comfortable. Not because you boys can't do it. Of course you can do it. I've done it too. So it's not that I didn't do it. I've gone there and I've made sure that I don't end up insulting the women whom I shot. You know, I mean, one of the things which I can be proud about myself is whenever I've come back from a shoot, I've never made those people feel like use, okay? Through my life, 28 years of shooting, no, I've never done that. I never make my people feel like, get it? So, but why would I send a woman there with due respect to the boys here? It's because my subject will feel comfortable for that reason alone. All right? There may be issues where it could be, female feticide, could be maybe there are other kind of issues there. Nice to send a girl there. Once she will be able to respond, she'll be able to get the trust of the subject. And even the girls here in this group will have to be aware that even you have to get the trust. You have to converse and talk. All of that too. These are things which is important. You know, the cultural aspects of India is very important when you take a camera in, because you are taking away a part, like she mentioned a little while ago. You're taking away a moment from their life, freezing it for life. All right? And there may be people who say, "हमारा तस्वीर मत लो." नहीं, हमें अच्छा नहीं लगता. Don't go and insist and don't take a picture unless the person is a convict. Okay, you might be going take a picture of a convict from a courtroom. Then it's okay because the police know and you know and you've been assigned to do that. But if you're going to someone's house and someone says, "हमारी तस्वीर मत लीजिए, आप किसी को लीजिए," unless you're able to convince her or him, don't push yourself. It's important. We think we are, we are God's gift. No, we are not God's gift because we have cameras. You know, sometimes you're going into situations which are, and this is very important, sometimes you're getting into personal spaces of people. And that's very important to be thankful to them. You know, you take a picture of somebody who you don't know and you make a great picture. It's nice to stand by and at least give them a thank you. You know, अच्छा लगा तस्वीरें कुछ खींची मैंने आपकी, whatever it is. Unless it's something which you can't. I mean, if you're covering a news event and when you've been assigned something, that's different. But otherwise, normal life, engage with him and then see how your pictures become. The thank you is very important, you know. It's very important. When you go beyond your picture and you have a conversation with them. After you take a picture, you have a conversation with them. When you go away, they shouldn't feel like, God, I got used here. This guy walks onto the camera, this girl walks onto the camera, takes a few pictures, walks away, doesn't even say thank you. Imagine I come into your home, I barge into your home and say, "Arey, aap general student ho?" That's not done. And I walk away. I don't even say thank you. I don't even say who I am. We're not that kind of important, are we? Be very, very careful about that. Engage with them. Engage with the subjects.
Because
I remember you for that.
Because it's very common that we are so keen on finishing the assignment.
Oh yes.
We are so keen on delivering, what is expected of us, that in that process we forget to be just human.
Human beings.
That the fact that
so correct.
Yeah. So I think that is something that today we are trying to communicate with you. It's very important. We believe in it. We stand by it. We practice it. And we want you to understand
It's very
that
important.
please don't only think about shutter speed, aperture, ISO,
And getting a great picture.
and getting a whatever is we can define as a great picture.
Yeah.
But please, we would like to re-emphasize and remind you that we must remember first to be human. We must remember, even if we are very, very, very hard pressed for time, sometimes we are. In some assignments, we don't have the time and space to say a thank you. We have to rush in and rush out. But somewhere the attitude that we can at least acknowledge that I'm thankful that I got this picture because that person was standing there.
The way you behave with them, even if you're not able to talk to them, the way you go away from that place, don't make them feel used. That's it. Sometimes they know for a fact that baat nahi kar paya banda, lekin banda theek tha. I'll repeat it in English. Maybe the person might think, the subject might think, he couldn't talk to me because he didn't have time. The situation was not good enough to talk to me, but he at least was nice. He was nice about the way he went about the pictures. You enter someone's home, don't go take your size 10s into their house and walk around all around as if it didn't matter. You walk into the bedroom, don't do that. Take your shoes off. Very important. This is India after all. Well, I think we covered ground. There is magic in photography. Okay, you are freezing time. Remember, and some of those moments which you freeze, they will stay with you all your life. And sometimes, if they grace the pages of newspapers or websites, you never know. You never know who is going to be who among you is going to be the next Cartier-Bresson, or a Robert Capa, or a Raghu Rai, or a Dayanita Singh. I don't know which one of you is going to be one of them, Or, I didn't mean to be one of them, somebody who was as famous as them. But remember what they all have. Even if you are going to be a landscape photographer, even if you're going to be a social documentary photographer, I mean to say, even it's not any lesser or more, they all had something else. They had character. They had very strong character. And that came through in the images. Develop yourself. Make yourself so strong. Make your mental and your soul strong. Make it rich. Enrich it. And then approach it with absolute honesty. While practicing your craft, it's very important. There are enough people, I'm sure, told you that the craft is very important. It's very important. I don't want to get into the same thing again, because the craft, I would tell you, is not the craft. It's any different from anybody else would tell you. I'm sure the craft has been covered. Practice your craft. And photography is somewhere when all of this come together. The craft, the science of photography, the emotion of photography, and what you are. Yeah. How you react to that person, how you react to the moment. And that's where the magic happens. Create magic. Wishing you all the best. Bye-bye.
In this lesson with Mr. Dinesh Krishnan, we understood more about the working of a news organization and the role of a photo editor. He also spoke at great depth about the professional conduct of a photojournalist and how, as photojournalists, we must conduct ourselves when we are there out in the field. We do hope that the insights gained from this lesson will help you carve your own journey as a photojournalist.